Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Watch and Listen podcast. This is a podcast all about watches. I do it here with my friend Cameron Weiss, the master watchmaker and CEO of the Weiss Watch Company, making watches from scratch right here in Torrance, California. I'm Matt, your other host who knows nothing. This episode of Watch and Listen is brought to you by Crown & Caliber. It's the #1 place to buy secondhand luxury watches on the internet. And trust me, unless you're one of the very lucky few on the list for the new Pepsi Jubilee Rolex, you only want to buy watches secondhand, especially from Crown & Caliber. With Crown & Caliber, you don't have to worry about meeting some dude off of Craigslist. You don't have to worry about a bait and switch on eBay. You don't have to go on Reddit Watches and be like, is Chrono24 a okay place to buy a watch? Crown & Caliber's authentication, their technicians on staff, they're a legitimate business. And when you buy from them, you're buying with a guarantee. That watch is going to work. It's going to be the same watch you saw in the pictures. I have bought 4 watches from Crown & Caliber, and I've sold them, I think, 3 or 4 watches. And it's an easy process. It's all done over the internet. And it's very, very helpful. They have a team on staff to make sure everything goes nice and smoothly. Use code CAM150, that's CAM150, CAM150, to get $150 off your first watch purchase at Crown & Caliber, thanks to your friends at Watch and Listen. We are also brought to you by Beeline Coffee. I love Beeline Coffee. I drink it every single morning. I got the Roasted Tire. That's my personal blend, and it is truly the most delicious coffee that I have ever tasted. It's grown in small batches. These roasts are really, really good. They're from all the best coffee-producing regions all over the globe, whether it's Central America, Ethiopia, Jamaica, you name it. Beeline's got a roast from there, and they offer tasting notes on the bag, so you know what flavors you're going to get before you actually buy the coffee, because it's not cheap. You know, you want to know what you're getting, something that you actually want. Use code CHRONO, that's CHRONO, code CHRONO to get 15% off your entire order at Beeline Coffee, whether that's just one bag or a monthly coffee of the month subscription or a bunch of coffee, doesn't matter. Code CHRONO gets you 15% off from your friends at Watch and Listen. On this show, this is a good one. We've got Simon Wolf in studio. And although you may not have heard of Simon Wolf, you've probably heard of the products bearing his name, Wolf Watch Winders. And Wolf is pretty much the premium name in watch winders. They have a lot of science behind it. And as we learned from Simon, they have a really interesting company history that goes back 5 generations and spans across 3 countries. I thought Simon would be cool because I didn't, I like his products. I use a Wolf Watchwinder at home, but I didn't realize he had such an interesting story. And he also brought us some of his personal watches to check out. This is a great show. Simon Wolf of Wolf Watchwinders on Watch and Listen. Watch and Listen podcast. Welcome, folks. We're back. Last week went well. History of Audemars Piguet. Got a good response on that one.
Yeah, that was a fun one, especially for me.
Cameron used to work there, so that worked. What's up, buddy? How are you?
Good.
Honored to have a man with his name on a lot of products you can see scattered about my house. Welcome to Simon Wolf. How are you, sir?
I'm very well.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
and you've brought goodies, too.
I brought you goodies, T-shirts and little goodies that will be very useful for you.
I certainly hope so, as my collection of perpetual calendar watches grows.
Yeah.
I'm at 1. We're going to keep that. We're going to change that.
If you get another winder, you might have to find another one.
We spent 20 minutes on the Audemars Piguet equation of time watch last week, and it's like, if you get one of those, if it goes off for a second, you're like lost.
Yeah, you need a Wolf.
It's a real problem.
A Wolf for sure.
Wolf has been that's the name. It's the one name that really keeps coming up. I mean, I don't know of a ton of watch winders, but everyone seems to gravitate towards Wolf. So thank you for coming here. I'm glad we could make this happen.
It was only 9 minutes away, but
really, are you that close?
Well, I live in Venice.
What? Me too.
Yeah,
awesome.
And the office is Manchester and Hindley. So
Really?
it is 9 minutes.
I
from
didn't
here.
realize it.
I go past
truly-
you every day on the 90 here.
It truly is 9 minutes. Well, before we get into too much, follow me on Instagram at The Smoking Tire. Follow Cameron and his watch manufacturer at Weiss Watch Company. And, of course, Wolf1834 on Instagram to follow Simon and his beautiful products here, watches and winder porn.
And jewelry cases.
And
lots and lots of jewelry
you
cases.
do jewelry cases too.
That's
I'm gonna have to
actually
get-
where we started was with the jewelry box business.
in
actually.
1834.
1834. Would you
What
like me
is
to dive into
Yeah,
a little
no.
history there?
Yeah, please. What's 1834 about?
1834 is when the German company was formed by my great-great-grandfather. So that's 5 generations. And he was a silversmith in Hanau, which is known for silversmithing.
Where's
And
Hanau in Germany?
It's south-central Germany. And you've got Nuremberg not too far away.
Okay.
He crafted all those lovely little silver things that sit on a table and are never used. The special little cup,
The
for
tea tray
the baby
and
cup.
the- yeah.
Smaller things like spoons and baby forks and things like that.
Filling wedding registries. One,
There you go.
one marriage at a
Before
time.
they were invented, yes. So he saw a way of presenting his silverwares in boxes that just looked nice. And so he started selling to everybody else in the area his packaging, his boxes. And you're not talking about any kind of mass production here. You took 1 or 2 pieces.
He'd be making them one at a time by hand, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we still do it by hand today. So his whole change of business was from being a manufacturer or maker of silver to a maker of boxes. And that's how the company was born in 1834.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
And was the silver completely abandoned at that point?
Yes. Yeah. So the story continues, and his son actually went to Sweden and on a holiday in 1897. And we're talking, this is a very long time ago, obviously.
Yeah.
And he loved it there in southern Sweden and met a girl. And that's often what happens in life.
And then,
You meet a
then
girl.
the family became blonde hair and blue eyes for the
had
next
something
4
to do with it.
generations.
There's a funny story there about being Scandinavian. Save that for later, maybe. So
Southern Sweden is lovely. I've been there a couple of times.
Have you? Okay.
Yeah, Angelholm I've been to, where they make Koenigsegg.
or Gothenburg.
Gothenburg,
or,
yes, I've been to Gothenburg.
Malmö is where my father is born.
Oh, that's lovely.
So it's his grandfather that emigrated to southern Sweden, to Malmö. And his beginnings were in the same vein, making a box. We've had success in Germany. The son goes to southern Sweden, to Malmö, and starts a little workshop there.
Malmo,
Yep.
incredibly charming.
It
Look
is,
at that.
but Stockholm is actually nicer. If I say
Stockholm
so.
is sweet.
I
Oh,
lived
what a
in
great
Stockholm.
place.
I lived in Stockholm.
It's like a city of
over the years.
islands.
It is. It's an archipelago. It's the largest archipelago on the planet.
It's one of the most expensive places you could ever get a hotel room.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
absurdly
It is indeed.
expensive to
It is
get a
indeed.
hotel room there. It's so lovely, though.
It is beautiful, and if it wasn't for the weather in the winter, it'd be a fantastic. There, you pull up a picture
I pulled up a Christmas picture.
Strandvägen in the winter.
Here's a summer version. I mean,
Yeah.
look at that. That's
Yeah,
spectacular.
That's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Actually, just booked today to go back to Stockholm for a long weekend to see some friends there and family.
Delightful.
So yeah, we have history then from 1897 in southern Sweden, and it's making boxes, much more presentation, packaging kinds of things. So the then it would be my grandfather. He came along, and between the First and Second World Wars was making boxes. And after the Second World War, before there was a Swatch or a Richemont, Philip Wolff, the third, was making boxes for Longines and for Rolex and for every
Display
American brand.
cases, or the kind of
The
boxes
actual-
that they would sell the watch
Yeah,
in.
you buy a watch, you get it in a watch box. And he had a huge
this is
business
how
back then.
this is how people get really rich, by making stuff that like people aren't really thinking about, but that
Yeah.
everyone kind of, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, every watch needs
every
a box.
watch comes in a box.
Yeah.
And now it's like box and papers, box and papers, box and papers. I just traded a watch. I just what we call split the stock. I traded one Rolex for 2 Rolexes, which I'm very happy about.
That's a very good move.
It's a very good move in the long play, right? And the box and papers was a big deal. Not even that nice of a box anymore.
I keep all my watch boxes as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
They take up a lot of space.
I have most-
like keeping a watch itself is not a lot of space, but if you really keep all the boxes, oh my God, it takes a lot of space in your closet.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, okay, that was your grandfather?
So that's my great grandfather.
Okay.
Now we're on to my grandfather. So we're in the beginnings of the last century. Actually.
Are we still in Sweden?
Now we're in Sweden.
Okay.
We're fully embedded in Sweden, so to speak. And my grandfather is really a genius, or was a genius. He died many years ago. He came up with lots of different techniques to make boxes, whether it was spring hinges or the way that the edges were folded and the skiving techniques that they had. So lots of technical things that nobody else was doing. He was a big thinker. He actually
like puzzle boxes or stuff with hidden drawers or how?
It was much more utilitarian. I hate to say it was much more utility. It was a really lovely box that had a function. It had 6 sides to it. It opened and it held a watch, or it held. We made all the boxes for Ronson lighters back in the day, or Schaefer pens, or we made for a lot of different cosmetic companies. So that utility and making it interesting and different was where my grandfather, Philip Wolf, he differentiated himself from anybody else, and he was kind of ahead of his time anyway.
Oh, here's a vintage Ronson lighter box. Yeah, is this like this kind of thing, right?
Yes, absolutely.
It looks like a jewelry box, basically.
I wish my dad was here. He's back in the UK. He would tell stories on stories on stories about the boxes we're looking at right now on screen and how they came to be. It looks simple. You know, the best things in life are simple design, straightforward use, but actually quite complex. Those are simple boxes. What we do today is very, very different, of course.
Well, yeah. Okay, go. Sorry.
That little warehouse factory type of setup just blossomed and became sort of the de facto place that if you needed a watch box or you needed a box for pens or a lighter and you needed a very high quality, it was made in Sweden. It was made by my grandfather. Then my father came along in 1936. He was born in Sweden, and there's a link here to the story. Well, a big link. It's all family. He went to England on a holiday, just like his grandfather had gone to southern Sweden on holiday. And guess what? He met a girl like his grandfather, and that girl is actually my mother. Oh. And he decided to stay. They knew each other for 7 days. They got married. They're still married today.
That is craziness.
Wow. Yeah.
That never. I mean, the first part of that story happens, but at the second part, it'd be like, yeah, and they got divorced a year and a half later. Like,
yeah,
they never stay married for 50 years or whatever.
Nah, it's nearly 60 now.
60.
So yeah, they're very happy.
Good for them.
Together.
Good for them.
They seem to be.
They rolled the dice and won on that one.
I think so. Yeah. My father is one of those men that. Always, if you're going to do the job, you're going to do it well kind of guys. And he really taught me that, hammered that into me as a young boy. So he never went back to Sweden. His dad said to him, well, you're sitting there in England. You need to do something. You're going to open a factory. Because that's what we did. We were always, and are today, we make stuff and we make it better than anybody else. We attempt to. So my father actually went to Ireland to begin with, just outside of Dublin, and tried to get a factory going there. But loved the Irish, but they didn't want to work that much. They wanted to go to the pub.
Yeah, I had a DeLorean once. I know how that. I know how that
worked out well.
It's one of the worst manufactured vehicles in the history of cars. I loved it. It was amazing. But the Irish, it just didn't work out. Like my car was an '83, and it inexplicably had the inner door cards and the HVAC controls from an '81. From the factory, like that wasn't switched later. Like it was just like, and you go, well, what? Like, there was like 4 different hoods, 3 different exhausts you get on DeLoreans, and it was just like completely random which one you got. The manufacturing was so bad.
You didn't keep it.
I actually sold it at a profit. I was one of the 6 people on the planet to ever profit on a DeLorean.
That's a piece of history. Right
It was. I loved going out to the garage and looking at it.
Yeah, just don't drive it anyway.
Right, and you know what ended up happening? I took these really nice photos of it for the for sale listing on Bring a Trailer, and a friend of mine, the same guy who did that painting there, painted from one of those photos. And I learned that having a DeLorean and having a painting of a DeLorean are just the same amount of satisfaction. So now I have the painting hanging in my gym, and every time I'm on the elliptical machine, I see it, and I go, yeah, it's about all I want out of that. That was it. But yeah, so the Irish in manufacturing.
So no,
unless it's beer or whiskey, then they're good.
My older sister was born there, and about a year later, they moved back to the UK and actually opened the factory that was to be the hub of manufacturing for many years in South Wales near Llanelli.
Do you speak Welsh?
I do not.
Does anyone speak Welsh?
No.
Impossible language.
Mm.
Wait, the name of that town again?
Llanelli.
How do you spell that?
It's Lallanelli. Llanelli.
Llanelli. Well, I'll tell you what, it looks like a charming, lovely little place.
It's very close to a place called Mumbles. Put Mumbles in there.
Mumbles?
Mumbles. I'm telling you, it's absolutely beautiful down there. The trouble is, it pisses with rain most of the time.
Well, Mumbles
is beautiful.
That's fantastic.
And
look at this little lighthouse and everything.
And
This
its
is great.
tidal reach, if you go back to that first image, no one can actually see this, but they can
well,
Google
hold
it.
on, hold on.
Okay,
Yes,
the
they can.
tide goes all the
Hold
way
on a
out to
second.
where that island is there. You get to the left. So
This
you
here-
can walk all the way out there when,
Oh,
when
wow.
there's low
It's a
tide.
huge.
Yeah. Is it called a tidal reach? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that.
Sounds like I
think
know what
it's
I'm talking about.
Tidal
It does.
zone, right?
Tidal zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have very big tidal
Well, Mumbles
differences.
looks nice.
It's beautiful there.
Yeah.
So the whole south coast. Well, the whole
Do
of
they
it-
understand the irony of Mumbles in Mumbles?
I don't know. It's a sleepy town. You can tell that. They're mumbling their way
It's
through
very
life.
funny.
So
Beautiful little place.
he opened a factory and built about a 250,000 square foot facility.
Wow.
And yeah, big. And
You guys don't mess around with your
nope.
factories. That's
Yeah,
not
that's serious.
Cameron opened up a factory. It's about
Yeah.
3 of this room. It's the premier American
Yeah.
watchmaking manufacturer. 250,000 square feet.
We could fit 1,000 of
It's
my
like
workshops
5
in there.
Walmarts.
Where are you in LA? Where's your office?
We're in Torrance.
in Torrance. Oh, you're
Yeah.
just south of us. Okay,
Yep.
very close.
Yeah, he's right. He's nearby.
I got to come down and see. I'm not that familiar with
Oh,
the
you-
watch. I looked,
Yeah,
obviously,
definitely.
But,
You got to
yeah.
go check it out. It's cool. It's
Yeah.
It's a really cool place.
Yeah, I
they
love
make
watches.
they make everything there.
Ah, brilliant.
Yeah.
They
it's
make
Top
it
man.
all.
Well done.
It's really nice.
Well done. That's
So
excellent.
250,000 square foot.
Yeah, so we had all of the sample making and designing and photography studio, and we would buy all materials, and as we do today, we don't let anybody else handle anything. We do it ourselves. So if that's a vacuum forming machine, we owned it. If it was injection molding, we owned the machines.
Did that long play pay off for you guys?
Yeah. Until well, I say yes. I mean, for many years, terribly successful in the late 80s, and then by 91, 92, it became just about impossible to make by hand what we were doing in the UK in South Wales. You just couldn't do it anymore. But he'd been there from 30 years, just over 30 years.
Wow.
My dad was an avid private pilot, so he flew. He had his own license, own plane, and we would fly from Biggin Hill, which is just south of London, down to we flew into Swansea, and then take a car from there. And so his love of cars as well as planes, and how he developed the business and his attention to detail I always saw them interwoven from like a Heidel. Do you know what a Heidelberg machine is?
Yeah.
I love those
The
machines.
printing
Yes.
machine, right?
Yeah. Now, so they made different ones, but the one that is the most dangerous and the one that I was never allowed to use when I was in the factory working was the Heidelberg machine that goes back and forth. So you got the big plate. They either use it for printing or
is that
punching.
this thing?
No, it's older than that.
Let's find one.
So they're
You know, I know this from the movie Catch
There
Me
you
If
go
You
to
Can.
the right. That one there.
This thing?
Yeah.
Catch Me If You Can. The fake checks are printed on a Heidelberg, and there's only one
right.
place you could get one.
Yeah, that's right. So there's a
That
printing.
looks like a machine that could really hurt
yeah,
you.
and
That's
back-
the whole thing.
the whole
Rocks
thing
back
goes
and
forward
forth,
and
right?
opens
Yeah.
up,
What does
and-
that make? Printing. It's printing, right?
It's printing and also punching and gold foiling and silver foiling. And I always wanted to use that machine because the guys and girls working on it, they were barely looking at what they were doing. They were putting in the materials, whether it was a piece of card or a leather, and then they were pulling it out after it had been stamped or pressed.
Credit where it's due. What a spectacular photograph of this machine.
That
right?
is pretty
This
nice.
is. I want to get a big print of this to hang on the wall. Like, that's rad. Original Heidelberg.
And we still
cylinder.
use Heidelbergs in the.
Do you really?
In our factory in China? Yeah.
like
yeah.
a new one.
No, some of them are. We've got skiving machines that are probably 30, 40 years old. They just
what
don't.
what is that? What's a skiving?
So when you
machine?
fold a piece of leather, you get two pieces on top of one piece on top of the other.
Right.
That's fine in most circumstances. But when you have a corner, now you have double the thickness.
Ah.
So what you do is you take the piece of leather that's going to cover the box and you skive all the way around the edges to half the width. It's a spinning blade inside this machine, and you actually hold each piece and you slide it through and turn it and slide
and
it
it
through.
makes
turn
the leather half the
it
thickness.
just cuts off. It's like a shaver. It shaves off.
That's
it's
awesome.
fantastic machine. It's
What
one
on
it's
this
one of my
box is it used on these
Every single corner.
Every single corner here.
or
huh?
every single part of this was skived before it was assembled. So
We'll talk
it's-
about this. This is a
It's
beautiful.
it's a
box.
lovely.
This can-
It's
Look
a
at
lovely
the
machine.
wood background on this.
They do the same technique on leather straps as well to make sure that they're the right thickness
Right.
for everything.
The
and
good ones, right?
Yeah, the good ones.
The cheap ones.
Yeah, the
they
cheap
just
ones
fold
are
right
just-
The ones
over.
that you
Yeah.
buy are skived,
Yeah.
of course.
Cameron has really good straps. Cameron straps. He does not cheap out on his straps.
Yeah,
Your straps
we do,
are dope.
We do very nice leather straps.
His straps are so nice that I buy his straps to put on other watches.
We just
I
finished-
have a Bal Mercier that has
Right.
a Weiss buckle on it because it's got a really that's really nice.
It's
straps.
important. It's a big part of
It is.
the watch experience. Is
Totally.
how comfortable it is and the feel of the strap.
We just designed a lovely tray to hold watch straps. It's part of a bigger collection called Vault. Just yesterday,
Is it on
we
your
sat-
website yet?
No, we can go to Vault.
Collections,
you go
Vault?
to Vault at the bottom. It's
pull that up.
alphabetical. There you go.
Here we go.
And we're just doing an insert tray that's for watches as well as for watch straps. This is designed originally for the jewelers to put their understock jewelry into and away at night. So, but we found that it's over the last 10 years, we just sell so many to consumers because it's very modular.
I
And
feel
we-
like straps are like right
Yes.
now. Like I have a million straps and they're all just like piled in a box. I'm gonna have to get one of these.
Yeah. We'll be finished with it. It'll launch early in the year, or certainly by Basel we'll have them. Simple things that make life a little better, a little easier is what we like to do.
So who was the first wolf to make a watch winder?
I was.
You were.
So we've been in the business of watch winders for 25 years, give or take. What we first started doing was buying our modules from a German supplier called MTE. And they were very basic. They turned on and off. And we're going back, we were doing that for about 5 years. I built a fairly nice business out of doing that. But I just felt that for a watch winder, for a watch enthusiast, you really need to be able to program it. You need to know what's happening because these watches that we love and wear are precise instruments with these wonderful beating hearts inside. And I love that. It's something I didn't start appreciating until probably 15 years ago. I'd like to say I'm a big watch guy.
Wait,
but
so did your love of watches come after you decided to make winders?
Absolutely.
So just sheerly from a practical perspective.
I looked at everything that was on the market and I went, that's pants. That's no good. That doesn't do anything. It's not. It just turns the watch. And I knew enough about how a watch worked to realize that if you keep turning a watch, there's mechanisms inside that are going to have stress applied to them. And then I learned, well, there's a clutch and there's ways of releasing the pressure. But then the clutch or whatever the bits were in there back in the day are going to have a pressure applied to them. And that didn't make sense to me. So we started designing our own PC board and computer chip that would ultimately and today control what happens to your watch. So you are in control of how many turns and what direction.
Cameron, do you have any different types of watch movements might you want out of something like this?
So the biggest thing with an automatic watch, people get worried about overwinding on a winder, which it's not going to immediately hurt the watch. But what happens is you have the mainspring, and it slips around the whole barrel every time if you're winding it too many turns a day. So it'll just continue to do that. So some of those winders where you just throw it on and it spins the whole day, it's too much for a watch. It needs to wind a few times, slow down, settle, wind a few more times. You don't want to keep winding because you'll actually grind up the inside of the mainspring or the mainspring barrel.
And this is over a long period of time.
Yeah. So if you had 5-6 watches in a collection and you had them all sitting on a winder and they were oftentimes just running and not actually doing the proper amount of turns a day, it could be bad for the watch in the long term.
How many different numbers of turns per day are there? What's the range?
Well, you go from the lowest. I mean, most Rolexes are 650 bidirectional. There are a few that are a little less than that, but not many.
So your options are
so
left, right, and then the number
both.
of times per day. That's really what your factors are
and,
here.
And some watches, like a Patek, only get wound in an anti-clockwise or a counterclockwise direction.
Why don't they go both ways?
It's
They're $40,000. They haven't
right?
figured this out yet.
Yeah, you think.
So what happens is it actually adds thickness. So sometimes on those dress watches, because you have to stack another gear.
It's a reversing gear,
It's
right?
a reversing wheel, yeah. So you have to do a little bit of a stack in order to have it wind in both directions. So sometimes for the Pateks, they want to keep them thin, so they designed it without that.
Same thing for those like crazy Piagets and stuff like that, and the Bulgari like
Usually,
super
yeah.
thins.
Yeah.
Oh.
The other huge point of differentiation between us and anybody else in the business of watch winders is that we count rotations. Everybody else just determines how many turns have happened using time, and we do that with a patent. So we have the patent worldwide that says the only company that can count turns is Wolf. So we have a little quartz eye inside the gearbox. Every time a revolution is completed, it counts down. You go, yeah, big deal. This is a precise.
Yeah, I wasn't going to insult
instrument.
you, but I was going to say if it spins at a specific speed, is there much of a difference between
It's not speed.
time?
It's not speed. It's how many turns. So
Of course,
you
but
have,
does it change speeds?
if you put a heavier watch on a watch winder, depending on the quality of the watch winder, yeah, absolutely.
okay.
A lighter watch, it'll turn more quickly because there's less resistance. A heavier watch, slower because there's more resistance. So depending on the power supply, whether your batteries are fresh, whether you have a Patek that only turns in an anti-clockwise direction, these things are important. We're the only company that actually counts the turns, so that after the period of activity, which is about 6 hours, has elapsed, you know absolutely 100% that it's turned 650 or 1200, however many turns you've set.
Yeah.
Nobody else can do that. And, for the purposes of what we're chatting about today here, maybe it's not that mind-shattering, but it makes a difference to those people who actually really care about their timepiece and how many turns it needs, and therefore is going to get.
A watch is a series of small things, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's neat.
So it's and then there's another layer for us if you want to keep down the technical attributes.
No, go.
So
nerd time. Go ahead.
There's the way that we designed our watch winder. So I was looking at the market years and years ago, and I said, I think we can do better than what I see out there. First of all, we've got to be able to control how many turns in the direction, and we've got to be able to say within a 24-hour period, this is how many turns it's going to turn. And I picked 24 hours because, that's how we look at life. It's 24 hours. A watch doesn't care. But I figured the way the watchmakers had designed a watch and their watches is that every 24 hours, a certain amount of influences are put upon the watch. Back in the old days, quote unquote, you walked and your arms swung. You went to work and you moved around the office and you had motion. Today, when we're walking, we're actually holding that phone and we're texting or looking up something on Google. And when we're in the office, we're sitting with our hands on a desk. So even if we're fairly active, you're not active enough.
So is a watch built in the '60s not getting enough of a workout on your arm anymore?
A watch built
Cameron's
today.
over here nodding.
Yeah.
It's
It's a
this is
real
true.
issue. Yeah.
Really? So walking while texting or scrolling through a website or whatever, your watch should be getting wound, but it's not because you're not swinging your arm.
And there's certain calibers that you should stay away from. If you're somebody that works at a computer all day and your hands typically you're not very active, there are calibers that you'll have issues with not getting the full power reserve.
Do you know what they are?
I know from Vacheron, we had some long power reserve movements that were older, and they weren't being wound by people because they were sitting at their desk on a computer all day.
Imagine going into Vacheron and going, my vintage $100,000 watch is working. They're going, Well, that's your fault.
Yeah.
I was.
That sounds like Aston Martin.
we had to
sounds like if
recommend
you ever
another
deal
watch.
with Aston Martin, whatever's wrong with the car is somehow
Yeah.
your fault.
I've owned two. And
How do you?
Yeah,
What
I
have you
have.
had? What have you had?
I had the DB 7.
Okay. Did you like that one?
Which I bought here in the United States, and it was a constant battle to keep the damn thing going.
I wasn't going to say it, but I believe you. Yes.
It had the soft top. It was beautiful. And then I got one of the first batches of DB9s that came to the United States back in 2000, whatever it was.
It was a
and I chose
better
the leather,
made car, right?
And I chose the dash and the calipers and all that. And I absolutely love that car. I mean, it's the same love I have as watches I have for cars. I can't really tell you what's going on inside the car.
But you can tell it makes you feel.
But it just makes me feel. It's like my watches; they make me feel a certain way, and I'm a fanatic about maintaining. So that car was a bit of a pain in the bum as well because it didn't want to start some days, and some days it did.
The batteries are under the back seat in those.
Yeah, it was
too,
a
and
nightmare getting
you have to get
it
to the
out.
battery in the DB9.
Wow.
It's
And you did
not
anything with the
good.
tires, they're filled with nitrogen, and it would cost like $3,000 every time just to fill the tire.
So I have an Aston Martin. I have a Vanquish, a 2003 Vanquish.
Lovely
It's
car.
a beautiful
A
car.
brute. A brute.
A bit of a pain in the ass. I sent it back to England to have a manual gearbox put in it.
Did you
Because-
really?
Yeah, because the paddle shifters were such trash. But same kind of thing. The engine and stuff with the drivetrain, totally stout. No issues with the engine, nothing mechanically, but I stretched out the parking brake cable and it was like $3,000. You know, the battery would die and it'd be $1,800. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just nuts, just
Yeah.
craziness. The little things, you know.
No, I used to be in that West LA Aston Martin.
The one on Robertson,
Is it Robinson?
O'Gara.
No. The little garage that's off of Olympic, just east
Oh,
of Barrington.
yeah. The independent shop,
Yeah.
the English car
Yeah.
shop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't go to a dealer if you can avoid it.
I
Sorry,
knew
dealers.
what was her name, Ida, and there was a guy there, and I got stories about hiding my car there.
Yeah.
for various reasons. But anyway, yeah, the way that you wind a watch on a Wolf is something we've really thought hard about. We don't want to overwind the watch, and the activity that happens in the 6 hours, where we are counting how many turns, and you can choose from 300 to 1200, directional or bidirectional. There are rest periods in between, so we never, ever let the watch get to an overwound.
So does it if it's 600, call it 800 turns in a 24-hour period? Will it do 200 one way, stop for a while, 200 the other way,
Yes.
stop? It'll spread it throughout the
Yes.
day. It won't do it all at once.
It'll spread it throughout that 6 hour period. Now, of course, if you do 300 or 1200, and we're only talking about the module here.
Yeah.
We call them modules. This is the control unit that's inside this one here, which is directional control and turns per day. There's also a start delay for watches with a power reserve. We have app controlled winders as well, which go from 0 to 1,999 turns per day. Why? Because we could program it in quite easily.
Yeah.
And people want to see that it can do that. So
Can you check in over the app to see how your watch is doing?
We can't actually. We could do that, but we don't do it just yet.
Okay.
So sitting at JFK or something, and I want to see how my watches are doing. Nah,
now
we're
you
not
need
quite
one,
at
you
that
need one
point.
with a remote camera on it, so
Yeah.
I can just watch it wind.
Right?
You know?
That would be pretty cool, actually. You could be at Red Bar Crew or something, and you
Yeah,
pull
yeah.
up your
Hey, guys.
your Nest cam.
Yeah, then you don't have to wear one on each hand. You can just
Yeah.
pull up the camera and just pan across your
Yeah.
your winder. Wait, so okay, I buy a watch. It's a very nice watch. It's a Audemars Piguet,
Yes.
whatever, Royal Oak. How do I know what it needs?
You go to Wolf's site, which is about to relaunch on Monday, and we have a database
Ooh.
of every single watch.
Where can I find it right here?
Not yet. Not yet. It's a
Oh,
big,
it's
a
coming
big,
soon.
a big fat secret.
Oh, awesome.
Literally Monday, the site launches.
Well, this show will be going up
And
on
my head-
Wednesday, so it's by the time this show is out,
Okay.
you're going to be golden.
So so long as our site doesn't crash,
Uh-oh.
God knows what else happens. But you know what that's like.
People
Everybody,
the demand for looking up your watches is going to be so high.
Yeah.
The server will not
Yeah.
be able to handle it.
well, I'm not worried about that, but I'm worried about it just going live and working.
Okay.
Because everybody always says, "Oh yeah, we don't look at my site right now. We're relaunching
Mm-hmm.
it." Everybody always says that, and I've been in that position for the last month, saying, "No, it's going to be even better than it is right now. So just can you wait?"
Yeah.
But it'll all go smoothly on Monday, and then there'll be a database that you'll go to. It's under Winding Specs. You put in your watch.
Perfect.
And it'll come up with your watch and how many turns per day and which direction.
Great. Is there like when you mention like Rolex, like are pretty much all Rolexes the same?
Pretty much, and I hate generalities.
Generalities.
Thank you. The basic view is, because of the data we have, 650 turns bidirectional.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's what my IWC is as well.
Yeah. That's actually quite low. I mean, we preset all of our winders to 900 turns per day, but again, it depends on how active you are. So the way that we triage our way through customer issues with, well, how many turns per day? You've got what the watch brand says, but then you have how active you are. So if you're sitting on the sofa watching Top Gear or something, you're not being active, then you're definitely going to need more than 650 to actually keep your watch wound.
Just so interesting. Yeah. What are some of the other things that go? What's some of the other science that goes into this stuff besides turns?
We're controlling the direction. Mm-hmm. We're able to allow you, if your watch is fully wound or you have a power reserve. So let's say you have a 3-day or let's say a 2-day power reserve. You can actually select on our winder 48 hours start delay. It won't do anything for 48 hours because the viewpoint that I had was watch winders overwind watches, and there's no controllability. So we need to deal with that, and that's where we started 20 odd years ago. One of the other things that we wanted to do was make sure that if you had a watch with a power reserve, you're not going to continue winding it when it doesn't need winding. Because you can see it's got 2 days left. I'm going to put it on my winder. I'm going to select 48 hours.
Will that will alternate? It'll wind it for 1 day every other 48 hours, or it just won't start at all.
Like if you took your IWC off and you've got your 8-day power reserve, you've been wearing it for a week and it's full topped off. Yeah, you can put it on here, set it for 48 hours.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that it's not.
It goes up to 72 hours.
Overwind, yeah.
So is it good? Like for instance, like the IWC I have is a big Pilot Perpetual. It's rad. I love it. 8-day reserve. Is there a way to program it, or is it? Would you ever want it so that the thing goes down to 2 days and then back up to, you know what I mean? Like, so it will wind 1 day out of 6 days or something like that.
You could do that on our 1834 collection of app controls.
That's the app control ones, yeah.
Because this is 300 turns bidirectional up to 1200. So that's what we're working within, and the power reserve setting is from 4 hours to 72. So
cool. Okay, so yes, I want to know while you're here because I want to stuff like this.
You're grinning now.
These crazy.
I have to prepare myself.
This is a $9,000 12-piece cabinet winder, and this isn't even the craziest thing you guys make. Mm-hmm. I have been on a yacht. There was a 200-foot yacht that had an 84 watch winding cabinet in the yacht, and it was just one of the coolest things. So do people come to you and have you assemble crazy cabinetry for them, or would you sell an architect the modules that they would then put into their own cabinet?
The answer is yes to the last question. We will sell the modules. We will work with an architect as long as they know what they're doing. The better part of our business is selling the unit as is, because it is plug and play.
And there's a limited number of people with 200-foot yachts.
Yeah, exactly. That's the market. It's a nice market, but it's a very now and again type of market.
And then this thing which I got a bit ago, this modular thing.
We call it the 4.1. Yes,
it's awesome.
It's brilliant.
It's so cool because
I could retire on that one alone.
It is so cool because you can. I have two.
Well, there you go. So
and you can stack them,
yes,
on top of each other, or side to side, or in a diagonal, or not diagonal, but you have to do a right angle. Like you can make them in any shape or size you want.
I said I could retire on these guys. The reason why I said that was we have customers that love that because it is modular, and every time they buy a watch, they can buy another one, and you can build. You can literally build a wall as big as your wall behind.
And you can daisy chain the power supplies.
Oh, look at you with daisy chain. Whoa.
I mean, that's rad.
Totally rad.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I had the computer up. Look, I've put it together. There's a block piece here that slides in, and you can do it side to side, top to bottom, and then the power supply is one plug that's daisy chained for 2 of these.
And 10 of them. So you daisy
You can
chain
get
10 off one power
Awesome.
supply.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that
Yeah.
cool?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Like,
Because otherwise
choose
you'd
your
have
own-
you'd have to buy 3, and then when you get that 4th watch,
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're locked in.
Yeah.
I love this. It's
And
fantastic.
people like for instance, like I had the side by side winder, which is the lovely piece, right? And I had it out on my dresser, but I it's out on the dresser, and my watch box is in the closet, and so now I have a shelf in the closet where I drilled a little hole through, and I ran the cable down, and now I have the watch box, and then I have these stacked vertically in the closet. It's like it makes
looks
my
good,
space
doesn't
work.
it? Yeah, makes you feel good.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I love that kind of
It's
stuff.
a super
That's genius.
It's a super piece. We've had it in the collection for 15 years, and every year we just sell more and more and more.
Is this what the future is, you think?
No,
The modular?
not necessarily. I mean, it's quite utilitarian looking, and you've got to like something that's very contemporary. I'm much more of a leather and wood type of person, so.
Well, you brought this one, which is the leather and wood. Tell us about this guy.
That's Roadster. We've had that in the collection with changes, with the adaptations and developments over the years, but we've had it in the collection quite a few years. Roadster is what's the word? The idea behind it is cars. I love cars. Today, my dad always had an old car that I was being stuffed in the back of. It smelled of leather. There was walnut dashes. There was wire spokes. And so all of those elements, I thought, let's throw them together and put it into watch wine and call it
Yeah.
Roadster.
Hold this one
It
up
looks
to
like
our
a beautiful
camera here.
dashboard.
Because this one has this wood grain that's polished, and it's like the dash trim you'd find in a Bentley or an Aston Martin or an English car.
My father had a DB5,
Spectacular. Really?
1964,
Oh my God.
year I was born.
Dare I ask? How much? What did he sell it for? Is what you're-
Don't even go there,
Yeah, I know.
because he drove. Our offices were on 35 Old Bond Street for many years.
Oh wow! Really?
And right above Midland Bank, and he drove up to London like everybody did from the countryside, and he said it drove like a tractor and it wore him out, so he sold it, probably not for much more than he paid for it.
It's actually
And
very
today
funny.
I'm like, no.
It's very funny that did he use the word like a tractor?
Yeah. Mhm.
I was at Pebble Beach recently, the auctions like last year, 2 years ago, and I was looking at this Ferrari Daytona. Not to buy, I'm just browsing around the lobby of the RM auctions or whatever, and there's another guy looking at it, and he goes, man, this thing looks good. I'm like, yeah, man. I go, you ever drive one of these? He goes, actually, yeah, I owned one, back in the day. And I go, oh, how was it? He goes, it was a fucking truck. And I go, really? I go, wow, okay. And he goes, yeah, I'm going to bid $850 for this one tomorrow. And I was like, all right, you know what I mean?
Nice.
Ultimately, if it's...
Well, you know the story behind Aston Martin, David Brown.
David Brown, yeah.
DB, yeah.
But-
so
but-
they built tractors. That's why.
So did Porsche. So did Lamborghini.
Yeah, it's gotta
They just
start
had,
somewhere.
at the Rennsport reunion, the big Porsche show at Monterey, they had a tractor race.
Did they?
One lap of Laguna Seca. Yeah.
Well, you know, in the UK, we have tractor pull races all the time. That's a big thing for us.
Yeah, well, we
That's
have
our
those too.
Sunday
That's a-
afternoon excitement.
that we have tractor pulls as well. They're a little different, but no, seriously, look at this. This is an actual Porsche tractor
I
race.
did not know they did that.
Yeah,
Bubba's Burgers in the background. I
and
like
look,
that.
and they did a Le Mans start. And look, here's
everybody's running. To
everyone
their
runs
tractors.
their tractor, and
Beautiful.
It must have been. I mean, it's going so slow that everyone's pictures are amazing. Nobody missed
Nothing's blurry.
Nobody missed anything. And then in the front right here, this is well in the lead is Patrick Long, who has won Le Mans factory racing
Really?
driver, and he won the Porsche tractor race. So
That is so
awesome.
sweet.
I know. I
Lovely.
can't wait. Like
Beautiful.
next year, I'm hoping they do Porsche versus Lamborghini showdown.
Oh.
Right? Maybe we get a David Brown tractor in there for good measure. That's awesome.
Brilliant.
So, can we talk about your watches? What are you into in terms of watches?
So
You're double
now-
fisting right
you're,
now.
You're,
I
you're,
noticed that.
You're actually terrifying me because, as I said earlier, I love the way cars look. Don't really understand how
get
they
your
work
beautiful
inside
winder out of the way.
necessarily,
We'll talk watches.
and the same goes for watches. So yes, I'm double fisting so that I didn't have to bring a larger watch roll.
Did you make that roll as well?
yeah,
That's a beautiful roll.
that's kind of cool, isn't it?
Yeah, can we put that under the in
Yeah,
front of the
sure,
camera
sure,
because it's
sure.
like a
Let me take-
really really nice
Let
roll.
me take these guys out
Here, and
and
I'll,
then
I'll
just
hold
snap it back.
Look
up.
at this beautiful roll. It has like really
Skulls.
good
Everybody likes a skull.
skulls and stuff on it.
Yeah, it's
This is rad.
It's
That's
actually
a really
actually
nice
brand
roll.
new. We're going to launch that next year. It's just a
That's
great idea.
that's a
that we
very cool. And you guys have a line of watch rolls, don't you? You have
Yeah,
whole
it's a
line of watch rolls.
big part of what we do because there are lots of people that travel and lots.
Oh,
of
I
people
love
need
the
to-
Union Jack
Yeah,
one.
Of course.
Oh,
Fly
that's
the flag.
so cool.
Yeah, Yeah.
Can we get America one? You get a little
We've got
America?
an America one.
There's there an America one?
Somewhere, I think, yeah. There you
Oh,
go.
here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, man, this is great.
Yeah.
For international travel, I'm definitely going to get the Canadian one.
Yeah, you should. You'll be safe.
Right?
These are cool. I love the country flags one. These are great.
Isn't that
Oh,
great?
this is a good gift for anybody.
Yeah.
That's
Or
very,
even
very
in
cool.
Australia. I'm not quite sure why, but actually,
Well-
you know this, I'm sure. Australia, you must have a lot of people following you from Australia.
We
it's
sell a
huge watch market
substantial
for us.
amount of watches to
you
Australia.
really?
I have
They
shipped so many
love
watches to
down
Australia.
there.
Really?
We're,
Yeah.
we're sending A-piece winders from LA,
To
FedEx, down
Australia
to
all the
Australia.
time?
and
Wait,
they
come
pay-
back in front of the mic. You're talking around the mic.
They,
Radio show, Simon.
Sorry. They love their watches, and they love watch
did
winders.
not really
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to pay more attention to the Australian market. I haven't done actually a demographic search for the watch show yet. The car podcast is like 85% North America, and the other 15 is divided among Australia, New Zealand, UK, and the Middle East, actually, kind of equally. But we're mostly North America. But I got to look a little more at Australia, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got here?
So-
Beautiful Bell & Ross.
I love Bell and Ross.
this one's
I think
rad.
because of
Let's throw this on. We got the watch cam here. We can pull this up in
because of the aeronautical emphasis that's on all their watches, and because I spent hours looking at the glide scope and the altimeter of my dad's plane, flying it without even being able to look over the cockpit dash. I love the way this watch looks.
I was
think-
looking at the brass version of this recently. Have you seen the brass one?
I have.
It's
Yes.
awesome.
Yeah, I saw this. I think this was a limited edition, or was released the last Basel or the Basel before.
Yeah, the blue dial is.
The
You
blue
don't
dial's
see too many
hot.
of the blue dials
Yeah.
from Bell and Ross.
That's a really nice piece.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's chunky. It's chrono. Yeah.
I
And it's
got
got
one
that
as a
screw on the
demo
back,
from
right?
our
Or
sponsor,
screw on back.
Crown and Caliber. I got one and I wore it for like a month, and I really liked the square case. It felt it had a real cuff feeling to it that I liked a
Yeah,
lot.
I love it. I
The
think
blue
it's
dial is hot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this a frequent wrist time on this one? You this one get a lot of wear?
great. A lot. Yeah.
What's the one you wear the most?
the Omega?
Is that an Aquaterra? What is
Yes.
that? Aquaterra with a
Yeah.
small seconds?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Chronograph.
Oh wow, look at that.
I love the weight of it. I love Omega as a brand. I just think it's a super looking watch.
Zoom out just a little bit here. That is a really nice
It's
watch.
it's sort of a man's watch. You can wear it any time with a suit that looks good. T-shirt. Yeah. I love that.
It's got a good chunkiness to it.
It needs
as well.
a polish. I feel really embarrassed actually because all my watches need a little bit.
I think
TLC.
our crowd is very much the never polished crowd. So
Okay.
you definitely don't have to be embarrassed about that around us.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I like my watches to be a little scratched up. Actually, I don't have anything that's too fancy that it can't get slightly scratched up.
It was at Basel this year, and someone fairly influential was looking at my watch saying, "You really need to get that polished." And I felt very bad about it. But,
That's
you know.
okay. How do you feel about what's happening with Basel? And is it are we seeing the end of Basel? Do you
I don't think so. Nowhere near. I went there. I was going to tell you a story about a brand I went to see in Switzerland. I paired it up with seeing the Baselworld folks. So I met with Michelle Melikoff, the new the managing director. They're doing lots of things that they should have done a long time ago. Decent food,
Yep.
get the prices down on hotels, make it easier for us to get online. Sure,
better Wi-Fi.
yeah, Wi-Fi.
Looks
so
like,
there's
Baselworld's happening March 2019.
absolutely. It's a huge show for us. It's absolutely a behemoth of a show.
You guys have a booth presence
Yes, we do. And
there? Is it as expensive as I hear it is to set up a booth
I
there?
could absolutely tip your mind if I told you.
I
don't want to do it on air.
I
but,
don't even want.
I can tell you,
I really do want to know. Actually.
it is incredibly expensive, and so it should be for a show that brings. I have, as a brand that's 184 years old, we're still, I would say, only 15 years into our real brand development because, frankly, the light bulb went on about 15 years ago in my head that I had these elements. I had this story. I had a great name. I had product that we've been making for a long time. So actually, I've got a story to tell here. And so at this show, we have people from all over the world. I have distributors in Japan and in Indonesia, in Singapore, Malaysia, Australia, South America, on and on and on, as well as customers in many countries. We're in 65 countries around the world. It would not have happened for us if I hadn't been in Basel. There is no way. So we're busy all the time. We're one of those booths that I think other guys in the sort of the similar businesses are like, what are these guys doing over there? And it just, success breeds this interest and more success. And so we've picked up fantastic distributors and customers that are, you know, the Rolex dealers of Kyrgyzstan. Not joking.
Oh no, I mean
and
you
Eastern
laugh,
but
I bet you it's they're flying out the door over there.
Yeah. So and we're
the dictators still have money. They're doing just fine.
We're fortunate because we're a brand that isn't competing with any other brand, so we're not a choice between I don't know, a Patek and a Breguet or something. We're always supporting your watch or your jewelry purchase by putting you can put what you own in a beautiful wolf and it'll take care of it. So we've had great success at Basel. Great success.
It's pretty much is it a business to business type show? Is there a point, like if I like watches, is it a
Sure.
should it be a destination for me to go?
That's an interesting subject.
Have you
because-
been?
Yeah, I have been. There are very limited things you can do as an end user and
Okay.
end buyer. It's mainly business to business, but I think that's where they need to spend a little time focusing on trying to grow the show
And make it a show.
and make it a show that also goes to the consumer.
yeah.
Like right now, the last time I was there, I was with somebody else, and they tried to go into a booth because they liked a certain watch brand, and they were basically just turned away at the door and completely embarrassed over it.
Really?
Like, this
That's
is
not
not a
cool.
cafe. You can't just walk in here.
That's
that
not
was the
cool.
response.
Yeah,
So
that's
it was
not cool.
It's very the big brands are very kind of closed off, and it's just like walking down Rodeo and everything's closed off to you.
That would be so frustrating. I
Yeah.
couldn't do it. Like, you know what? Like, I'm frustrated with the SEMA show. The you know SEMA, the car show in Las Vegas. It's the biggest, you know, wholesale car show for aftermarket stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's primarily, you know, people go and take meetings and sell, you know, stuff to AutoZone and whatever it is, right? And tires and shocks and chroming grills and billet hubcaps, whatever the fuck. But you can, if you can get in, and, you know, you have to sort of be in the industry, quote, to get in. But the best way to go is just as a fan of cars. Because all the custom cars are there. You can touch everything, you know, every... you know, crazy part and crate motor and all the, you know, all the wheels and all this stuff that you can. It's all right there, and you can see it. You can get right there in the face, and odds are you can shake hands with the guy that made it, and he's happy to see you. You know, there's almost no brand that's like too snooty for that.
With Basel, we're open in terms of our display technique, so we're very accessible, and we have a lot of consumers that will walk on and. You know, you don't know who you're dealing with half the time, and I'm a pretty humble guy, so I'll talk to anybody, especially if I think they have a need, and so I'll end up talking to consumers for 10, 15 minutes, and you know, then realize they're a consumer and talk for as long as I can until I need to deal with somebody else. It's that actually is a really fun part for me because you know, I've been doing this for 30 years in the United States. And until the internet came along and then social media, you could never get in touch with your customer. You always dealt with a buyer. You know, we dealt with the Marshall Fields of the world and the Higbees in Cleveland and all these lovely old department stores and small individual stores that were around the country. And you dealt with a buyer who gave you the stats of what actually happened on their shop floor. You never knew who it was that was buying, whether a male or female, whether they liked the color pink or blue because of a certain reason. So having this contact directly at Basel, but through social media for us is just fantastic because that's ultimately who we all really only care about.
Right.
I want to make something that works so well for this person, whether it's jewelry, whether it's watch, that they'll come back for another one.
Well, isn't that actually the argument against something like Basel? Because you have social media and because you have an ability to connect directly with your end customer, and given how I'm just guessing extraordinarily expensive it is to go to Basel, if you spent half of that on a social media presence, it is possible you could end up in the same place or further ahead. Maybe that's the argument that I hear against going, but I don't know.
You know, we are an established company, we are an established brand to a point. So reaching retailers that then reach consumers, it's difficult for us to find those consumers in Kyrgyzstan by social media because we have to be in their language. So,
yeah, that's a good point. The the language barrier could be a thing.
Yeah.
There was a time when you'd go to the Basel show and you would actually see the manufacturers as well. There were machine tools and a lot of behind the scenes stuff, but that has since split, and now they're kind of at that show that we were talking about, the EPHJ show. That one, which is all behind the scenes. You're not going to see any finished products, no finished watches or winders or straps or anything. It's going to be
parts.
Yeah, it's going to be parts
machinery.
or machines.
I was looking for a picture of the Rolex boutique in
scroll back up.
Kyrgyzstan.
I don't think you typed Rolex.
I didn't.
Rolls.
Rolls.
I really want to see a picture of the. Is this it? A Rolex boutique in Kyrgyzstan? Oh, Marina Square. I don't know. Yeah, Marina Square. This is it. Wow, it's a nice store.
Oh yeah,
It exists.
It's all there. It's all
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
Man, I every airport.
Put in Wolf Winder Kyrgyzstan. See whether you come up with anything.
Every airport has a Rolex store now in Europe, and they're all cleaned out of steel. It's just like gold and gold and gold. Let's see. Will we find the wolf? Nope, not in Kyrgyzstan.
Oh well. Now you're down a rabbit hole.
I know. Now we're down. Now we're looking at things on the internet. You got two more watches here. I want to see what is the yellow dial.
This is a Glycine, which is
I think
hand
we've had a
wound.
Glycine on the show before.
No, this will be the first one.
first one, huh?
Oh,
I noticed it from under your cuff. It was very. Oops, sorry. It was very pretty.
I actually do wear that one on my right wrist because if I don't, the crown starts to bang in here because I wear my watches loose. I don't like them tight.
Me as well. I'm a lefty also, so I do the right wrist thing. This is a great watch. Tell us about this watch.
My father and I saw that watch. I can't remember. I think we were in Watches of Switzerland in London, and he loved it, and I loved it, so we bought two. If you flip it over,
It's a really pretty color combination on the dial
is.
with
The whole
tan
dial
and the
glows,
blue.
right?
Pardon?
The whole dial
Does
glows.
the whole
on
dial
Yes.
glow?
the whole dial
Yeah,
glows.
it's completely
That's a
luminescent.
fully loomed dial?
Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
twitches
Oh my
because of that watch.
That's rad.
I love the back. I love the fact that I just love what's going on inside there. Look at that beating heart going.
It's got a really
just
big
superb.
display back.
Yes.
It's like a full
Yeah.
full glass back.
Yeah.
Which seems obvious if we're sitting here, but half
One,
of our audience is radio only.
One question I do have: do you make any winders for manual watches? The older manual?
No.
No.
No,
What would that
it's,
be?
It's out there. I think as a great idea. The worry that I would have is the setting. What
Yeah.
happens if the clamp goes on the crown
Overwind,
and
yeah.
overwinds it?
Is it literally a clamp that goes on the
can't-
crown and you like crank it?
I can't
Is that
think of
what it
another
is?
way to have it work.
We had at Vacheron, if you bought a manual wind perpetual calendar, you would get a special box that had a motorized winding system in it.
Wow, weird. I'm trying to.
And it actually, there's a part that reaches out and grabs the crown and turns the crown a certain number of spins every 24 hours or something.
Well, here's some pens. Like these things are like it's like a tool that goes over your crown and it just helps you spin it.
Type in Audemars Piguet manual watch winder.
Here we go. What kind of internet rabbit hole will we find?
Yeah,
Ooh.
we're down.
I don't know.
Not
Nothing
much.
there.
Not much. Oh,
It's
that's on
basically
Google
a
Shopping.
box, and when you
Oh wait, this. How about this?
there you go. That's one of
Oh,
them.
wow,
Yeah.
look at that. How interesting. So,
So these little pins over here
Sorry.
are a little bit. So the watch goes in here.
the watch goes on this.
Yeah, it like clamps in there.
Uh-huh.
So this is spring loaded. You pull it out. You drop the watch in, and it presses it up
Up and then the
so
crown
that the crown
goes
gets
in here.
pushed into that little tube.
Weird.
And there's some like tacky rubber maybe that grabs the crown.
That is really strange.
It's something that
frightens me. I guess.
yeah
I
I've
can
never,
completely a thing grabbing the crown and
Right?
I can see why you wouldn't want that level.
and
of,
I've never seen other manufacturers
Wow.
make them. I've only
Oh,
ever
here's
seen
here's a
them
good picture of it from the side.
with a watch.
This one, this has got it from the side here. So, yeah. Oh wow, look at that. How weird.
My guess
Yeah.
is that I've never seen one myself.
You've never seen one. The
No,
man who makes winders has
I've
never
never
even
seen one like
of
that.
these.
I would say that that's something that's not been made once and never again.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I've only ever seen them with a brand new watch, coming with a brand new watch that is a highly complicated manual wind.
Yeah.
So maybe they have some kind of safety mechanism in them.
Yeah, if it feels a certain amount of tension,
Yeah.
it backs off.
Yeah, that's so crazy. I just want that one. This one looked like a key winder, right? I don't know. That's okay. We don't need to worry about that because you don't make those.
Yeah.
And last watch that you have.
I was
brought
at
for us.
CR, which is the show in Mexico City. You familiar with that?
No, please tell us about that.
SIAR. It's once a year. It caters for the Mexican, and Central South America market. It happens at the St. Regis. The Four
Salón
Seasons.
Internacional Alta Relojería.
That's it. And
Is that Spanish for watches?
Yeah.
So 2 years ago, we've been at the show for several years now, 3-4 years, and we're going. I'm actually leaving tomorrow for Bogota to see some customers, and then fly up to Mexico City to be at this show. Anyway,
They want a 64 watch winder on a cigarette boat in Bogota.
there you go, something similar. So this watch I saw there, they just launched it in Mexico. And I was talking with the folks from Cartier, and I just thought that shape of what I like about that is the shape of the case. I think it's a very, very subtly shaped case.
Not round and yet not square.
Round, not square, somewhere in between.
What's the actual model of that watch? Do you know?
Oh, now see,
Cameron, do you know?
You're making me feel.
I don't know the
not,
exact name.
It's not a Ballon Bleu, right?
No, it's the drive. Sorry, the model. It's called
drive.
it's called
Cartier
the
drive.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So I thought you meant the movement number and so.
Oh no! I wasn't. We don't do reference numbers. On
Okay,
this show.
thank you.
There's too many watch shows where they start. Oh, what's the reference number?
Yeah.
Shut up. Who cares?
I don't do that either.
I like. It's very thin.
Yeah,
Very thin
Yeah.
watch.
it's a lovely watch. It's a lovely watch.
That's pretty.
The only thing about it that is a bit annoying is the crown pops out very easily. It's not locked down. It's not screwed down. So you put your hand in your jeans and come out again.
Oh, that's
it's a dress watch, more of a dress watch. You shouldn't be shoving your mitt inside your jean pocket anyway.
How uncouth
yes.
to put your hand in your pocket. No gentleman would
No.
ever dare put their hand in their pocket. I'm about this glycine. That's a beautiful piece. It's big. It's like 40.
It's old. That
40.
thing must be 20.
It's really 25 years old. This watch.
I think it's something like that. What's the number on the side? They only made it's a limited edition. It's 200 and what did I buy? 200 and
limited.
no, on the side of the case.
You think you've worn it off, sir? Oh, there we go. 056 of 250.
Yeah.
I want to shine a light on this thing and get it glowing because it's like. Is this really? I'm just gonna
charge it up.
Charge it up over here in my hand for a second.
So that doesn't need a watch winder, but it needs a fantastic watch box.
Yeah, I like this. Hey, how long do you think I have to do this to make
That
this
should be
glow?
plenty.
Plenty. All right.
Yeah.
Make it glow, Cameron, because wow. It's
Here, let's see if I can.
wow. Oh, it's so awesome.
It's fantastic.
That is so cool. Is anyone else making a full lume dial right now? I feel like if anyone could do it, Bell and Ross could do it, right?
Yeah.
That's hit the focus button. That's so glowing. That's like a nuclear waste
focus
dial.
actually can't work it out. It's going, this is too bright. I can't work it
Yeah.
out.
Wow. Is glycine Swiss?
Yes.
I'm embarrassed to know. I'm sorry. To not know.
Yeah.
That's
Again,
a very
their
cool
history,
watch.
very aeronautical, very, very flying.
Yeah, they actually did
awesome.
some multiple time zone watches where they had multiple different movements in the case.
Wow.
So like a big pilot's watch,
Oh,
but
it
they
has,
had
like, four
like
little
four
movements?
crowns.
Oh my
they had
God.
smaller movements, so completely independent.
Let me see if I can find multiple movements. I don't even know what they're called, but I think maybe that picture. Where can we find multiple like that?
Not like that. It'd be a multi-time, like this one right here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really neat.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's
Right?
very
That's
pretty.
That's glycine?
Yeah.
And it's got what looks like a sorry, come back. We'll come back
The
to that when it
Glycine
loads.
Airman.
It had like this depth to it.
Yeah.
Right? Like these are like sunken in.
But is the case
Well,
deep?
yeah,
Is
because
it
you'll
a
have
deep-
different dials on each
it's
movement.
different. Yeah, and they have
And then
to
you
be
have these
different.
the ring that goes around it.
Wow, That's really cool.
Yeah.
Every
I like
show
the
we
color
learn
too.
something.
It's a very nice.
You should buy one of these,
light
Simon.
bronze.
That's perfect.
Yeah, sure.
So where are you mostly? You're headquartered here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, so we have an office here in LA. We have an office in Hong Kong for the Asia Pacific market, and then we have our office in the countryside, near the South Downs of England, in West Sussex.
Are you still
rolling
manufacturing it all in England?
No, we moved to Asia 30 years ago. So we moved a lot of the tooling, a lot of the expertise, and we started with a very small relationship that just grew. We now have about 950 people in the factory. The average is probably 15 years they've been working in the factory.
wow.
So we have artisans that are creating by hand everything. So when we talk about skiving machines or Heidelberg machines, we have some CNC machines that will cut board by computer.
Yeah.
But after that point, everything's done by hand. So whether it's stitching, whether it's underneath here is a little layer of foam, the foam has to be attached, it has to be all sealed together. It's all done by hand. It's an amazing process. One day we should have you over.
Oh my God, I'd love to. Where in Asia is it?
We're just north of Hong Kong. So you jump in a car, it's about a 2-hour across the border journey,
That'd be an
depending on
adventure.
whether Chinese let you in or not.
That could be an adventure. I'm a Jew, so I don't know. Maybe not.
They'll let you
They
in.
do. We're good.
Oh,
They're
they
good
let
with
you
Jews
in.
over there.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I like my Wolf Finder. I use it. Are all the winders based on this same software module, the same
Yes.
electronic bit?
So the computer chip inside is programmed to our specifications, our algorithms, our logarithms, and depending on whether it's a more simple model, which is a cub, all the way up to the programmable app controlled, we are controlling into the chip, programming into the chip how we're going to allow the user to interface with the watch winder.
I want to find a video of. Oh, there you go. Some animation. Make it nice. Got an in-house video team going.
We do. More and more and more Instagram.
You can probably program them to make them like really fun. Do like real fun dances for your videos. Have you seen Vulcan Innova? Do you know this guy? He's here.
No.
He's a guy who takes your modules and he puts them in engine blocks.
Oh yeah, yes.
This is like he's a young dude. And he uses Porsche and BMW engine blocks, and he uses the pistons, and then he uses your modules and your controllers, and he makes these beautiful. And these things like, I don't know, $25,000. I mean, it's very very expensive.
Yeah, they're expensive. Yeah.
But it's a beautiful piece.
It's a
And
great-
the guy's
Yeah.
local here. He's right
I
here.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
a piece. It's like a sculpture.
Yeah,
a work
it's
of art.
amazing.
I don't think
Yeah.
we've ever spoken to him. But,
Really? I'll set you up. But look,
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. Isn't that spectacular? I like this one because it shows all the different. It's like they're all going different speeds and different directions, and they're doing
Yeah,
stuff.
that's interesting.
Really, really neat. Yeah, we should. I'm shocked you don't know this guy. I should introduce you to him.
We've had a fair amount of folks come to us doing this kind of work, but we've never really taken it further.
Yeah, well, it should be like
That's fantastic.
endorsed or something.
Yeah,
You build
yeah.
partnership.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, before we close this show down, is there anything you'd like to leave us with aside from to go to your new relaunched website to look up your spin rate?
Yes, look up your spin rate or your
What do we call that?
turns per
Turns
day.
per day.
Your TPD,
TPD.
turns per day. Nothing much more to say apart from we make a beautiful product that takes care of your watch, and that's what we concentrate on, looking after your watch.
And we, Crown and Caliber is our sponsor.
We know them
work
very
with
well.
them.
We work with them. Yes.
And we have done Wolfwinder giveaways, and we will be doing another one later this month. Crown and Caliber has wanted me to do another one, and
Super.
we got really good engagement on the first one. Before we finish up the show, though, we like to people approach us all the time who are starting new brands, micro brands, whatever, and they want us to show and talk about their watches. So this is a guy who sent me a watch. The company is called Goodspeed. This fellow, his name is Jeremy, and I haven't shown this. I haven't taken this out yet. I haven't seen it. This came in the pouch today. And I'm going to put it down here. And at first touch, it feels like a reasonably high quality item. And Cameron, what do you think about this watch? Obviously,
definitely see the
motorsport-
vintage inspiration.
Vintage and motorsport
feels-
inspired.
The dial feels like the tag.
It feels a bit Hoyery.
Yeah.
Right, definitely.
Yeah. And hang on, let me find. Let me see if I can get the info. It's chronograph, right? It's got. I like the white hands.
Yeah, the
That's
buttons
pretty
are
cool.
the chronograph pushers in the crown are like completely hidden behind the larger bezel as well.
Let me see. Oh man, I lost the message. It's on Instagram. I'm sorry, I lost the message. I got to find the details. I should have been ready. That's what I get. Good speed watches. Here it is. Okay.
Where's
The
he
watch-
making them?
It's on Kickstarter, actually. It's a Kickstarter thing. And you can look up Good Speed watches on Kickstarter. And vintage-inspired racing chronograph. This will launch on Kickstarter for $169. So this is like a really affordable piece compared to a Hoyer or something like that.
Yeah.
What
Is
do
it
you-
a
can I
quartz
see?
chronograph? I guess.
I mean, it must be, right?
Yeah, must be that price.
What does it say on the back?
That's great.
Yeah, quartz.
Quartz, okay.
So you won't need a winder for this one, but
But you need a watch
nice
box. I keep pushing.
But-
the watch
Yeah,
box.
definitely
You
need
could
a
use
nice
a
box.
but still, what do you think, Simon? For $169,
Yeah.
I think it's the good size,
Thumbs up
good
from me.
weight.
I
Yeah.
like it.
I mean, look, something for everybody.
It's got a great dashboard feel about the
Yeah,
white segment on the interior there. It's
I
lovely.
like when they do the car thing and it's like a little too on the nose, like when it looks just like a Porsche tack or something. I'm like, it doesn't really do it for me. But I like if it looks like a bit of a throwback. That's cool. $169. Check it out on Kickstarter at Good Speed Watches. I am going to send this one back to them, and he said that we can do a giveaway with one later once they actually like produce them. You know,
This
So-
one it is a little weird because you do have a rotating bezel on the
But-
tack here.
but that's not where the tack does. Because you don't need it, right?
You would never want to use it unless you were just fidgeting, unless you
So-
needed some way to release some stress by just turning the
It's a
bezel.
more sophisticated fidget spinner.
Yeah.
I would be lying if I said that wasn't kind of stress relieving, though.
Right?
I mean, it
It is.
sort of is a stress relieving thing. That's a very
Having a
satisfying
dive
spin.
bezel?
Yeah, I have just a regular Seiko that has a great click 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 click, click, like an old train when you spin it. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
How many watches do you think you have in your collection? You have a big
Close
collection.
to 50.
Oh, you got a
Close to
bunch.
50.
Do you have a big Wolf
I have
Windings
a-
closet?
Yes, I have one in the office and one at home. Yeah.
Big cabinet?
Yeah, actually, I'm building in. Hopefully, my wife won't hear this part. I'm
That's
building
okay.
in.
We're like 99% male audience. She
I
won't.
haven't actually done it yet, but I'm going to cut the drywall out behind where my clothes are, and I'm putting in a whole unit there that I'm going to design. I
That's
just
what's
haven't
up.
done it yet. I've got all the wiring, but everything I need. I just need a saw to get into the
That
drywall.
is absolutely what's up. Well, thank you for coming in, Simon.
Thank
This
you
is a
for
real
having me.
treat. And
Pleasure.
you gave us a really generous gifts of winders and.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much.
Very
And we will be
welcome.
doing giveaways, of course, of Wolf Winders. But I mean, I didn't know the story. 5 generations across many nations. I love it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Super.
that's a lot of history.
Well, you can check it all out at wolf1834.com. If you can't remember the year, just Google Wolf Watchwinders. And of course, I ended up at Vulcan Innova. I'm sorry. You can follow Wolf1834 on Instagram. Cameron, anything going on that we need to plug before we get out of here?
Really, just get your orders in for Weiss watches because
Yeah.
I'm gonna be having a baby December 5th.
He's
so-
going to be a daddy. He needs the money.
yeah.
Help. He has
And-
a
and
Land
I-
Rover.
I would like to be
He
done.
has a Land
I had a T90. I had a Defender 90. That thing too.
He's got a 60 what year is yours?
71,
A
71 Series 2A.
Yeah, he really needs
Yeah.
he really needs the money.
That's
That what is more expensive, a Land Rover or a baby?
I need more time is what I need.
Yeah.
Once December 5th comes, those get your watches before December 5th.
This is what I'm
because
saying. This
I'll
is
be-
why you
I'll be
want to get a
sleep
watch.
deprived.
Yeah, you want to get a watch now while Cameron can still make them.
Yeah.
Pretty soon he's going to be daddying. He's going to have to hire a staff. But you want one, you know.
You may get a diaper instead of a
Yeah.
watch.
Right,
Yeah.
but not that whoever you hire won't be totally capable, but I'm glad that my Weiss watch was made by the hand of Cameron Weiss,
Yeah,
and
thank
it won't
you.
always be like that. It will.
No.
Hopefully, it won't always be like that because if it's not, it means you're making paper. and Cameron, I just got. We just finished it. Look at this. This is my 911 Safari car.
I saw
No.
a clip. I saw a clip on Instagram.
Just
this morning.
finished it. It's got a 4-inch lift, long travel shocks. It's cassis red. The interior. Wait, look at this. The interior is rad. But right here on the glove box door is going to be a nice set of Weiss dash rally clocks, which will be painted to sample to match the car. And I got you that paint sample. They're
Perfect.
sending it to me.
All right.
Thank you, Simon. It was an absolute
Thank you.
treat meeting you. I'm glad
Pleasure.
you're so close.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You're going to we'll have to
Pleasure.
make you a regular guest.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Watch and Listen, or watching, or whatever it is you did. We will see you next week. Goodbye.